Hello, how are
How are
you?
you? Finally.
We're fine.
Yes. I'm so sorry because I was unable to make it last week. But well, things happen for a reason, right?
Things
Thank you so
happen.
much for having me. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. We
You,
wish everything is okay now.
Yeah.
Danays, let me first clear last week. Nothing happened from your side because, as you have said, things happen and there was no intentions behind it. It's a misfortune incident that we don't know about, and we leave it for you because it's personal. Everybody understood it. We had tons of questions the next day, and we answered them all. That Danays is fine. It's a small setback, and hopefully soon we'll get live together. And here we are today, 1 week later, ladies and gentlemen, with Danays Leon Sanchez.
Danays, excuse me. The good thing about this incident is the suspension is now the suspense now is more and more to meet you.
Suspense.
Suspense. Exactly. I
Yeah.
corrected.
Honestly, it was not planned, right? This is not something I planned.
I know.
Of
I
course
know.
not.
Okay.
Of course not.
Let us introduce us. Let me introduce us first. You must know how you must know us as Los Osos group as we are, but in person, this is me, Qasim. I don't want to tell you my family name is too too long to tell. This is Eli, my partner in crime.
Well, who doesn't know you? Everybody knows you, you know,
Thank you.
Thank you very
respect
much.
you too, because you are well-known cigar experts and lovers more than anything, right? And it's highly appreciated what you do for the education of our community and for sharing always information, knowledge, true knowledge, which is very important. And my respect to you because of that. And I'm pretty sure that the audience, all the friends who are with us today and the other ones that follow you in the Facebook, Instagram, any platform, they appreciate in the same extent.
Thank you, Danays.
Let me here open a parenthesis. Danays, you don't mind a bit of challenging questions. You don't mind that.
No, if I know the answer.
Yeah. Yes. But we have our style. We dig well, Los Osos, Qasim and myself. We like some questions for a bit well built, well constructed, and that's sometimes will put a little load on our guests. Most, if not all, of our guests appreciated it before. In case you see that we have put a bit of a load extra than you wish, you tell us, skip the question,
I don't want to
and we
answer.
gladly skip the question. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. I need to start with an advice from your side.
Yes.
I will leave the option for you to choose for me one cigar. What I'm drinking today is 3 portions of double black. It's a blended Scotch whiskey with 1 portion of the Amante. What do you call it, Hajjal? The almond liquor.
Okay.
And I need to match with it one of those 3 cigars. And you have to choose for me. The drink I'm having is called the Godfather. The cocktail I'm having is called the Godfather.
Amaretto.
So I want Amaretto, exactly. So 3 portions of double black Scotch whiskey with the Lost City Opus X from your friend Fuente, the Don Carlos #2, or the Don Carlos Presidente. You choose for me.
You know what? In terms of these things, it's very hard to have a right answer. In my case, I would go for the Presidente. you know. Yes. And you let me know if I was right.
Yes, I will let you know. If you want me to change the whole cigar or the whole drink, I'm ready. It takes me a few minutes. I'll reach to my bar. I'm fine. Are you fine? These two. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
And you have to let me know about your experience, you know, because all
We
these
have
things about pairings, it's
very
people
personal.
sometimes they think that there are like you know, rules. There are no rules. There are guidelines, and you have
Yes.
to take into consideration so many things: your sensory memory, your childhood, what you know, the flavors you like, even what you used to eat, you know, when you were a child, how the type of food that is eaten or had in your country, because our palates are different, you know.
Exactly.
100%.
What may
Exactly.
work for you may not work for me, but we have certain guidelines. In that sense, we have a very you know, wide space just to move around and just to play with the palate. And tasting is the only way to know if you consider that this cigar is okay accompanied by this drink. Try and try.
Denise,
Exactly. We agree with you
before we
100%.
start, my usual question: what you are smoking?
I'm sorry because I started before
It's
you.
okay.
The thing is that you know that I have, and I'm gonna keep my glasses because otherwise I will be watching you blurry. You know,
Okay.
these are problems of this age, you know. So we start being dependent on the glasses. So the
Same
thing
here.
is that you know that I have this smoke and talk that has been standing by for some time now, and I love this, you know, talking to people and smoking at the same time and all that. But it was like a ritual for me just to get ready with the telephone, starting connecting, and then light the cigar just to relax a little bit before the live. And just I couldn't help it. I just lit the cigar just in the moment that I was connecting. And I'm smoking a Sperlinka. This
So,
is the
of course,
resilience.
of course.
The
Yeah.
resilience
We
is
have.
a massive cigar.
I need to stop you here, Danays, and tell you we are so sorry. We tried so hard
Yeah.
to get your cigar. Me and
To smoke it with
Qasim,
you, doctor.
we couldn't. We couldn't spot it. We heard it's in Europe.
You shouldn't be.
We can't.
You shouldn't be. It's me the one who's sorry for not having time enough before this live to send you some cigars. It should have been like this. But unfortunately, I didn't have time. And the other thing is that we are in the middle of a production now, and they are supposed to come out in a few days from now. We'll talk about all these things.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Coming.
Yes,
Okay.
coming.
For me, Denise, I tried, as my partner said, to smoke Sperlinga, but I choose for tonight the Partagas Legado, the limited edition, the newest, latest limited
wow.
edition for Partagas, and I'm pairing it with the black tea. I'm a fan of a tea. I
Nice.
can't, and also I have a big question for tea pairing later. We will come to that.
Okay. Okay. You are very lucky. Enjoy that good smoke. That's
Thank
very
you.
nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, well, going back, yeah, I was showing you that this is Sperlinka, the Resilience, and it's a massive cigar because I don't know if you have heard that we have this, the Life Journey line, and the Life Journey line has at this moment 9 different cigars. One of them is the Resilience, and the blends, the shapes of the cigars are related to their names, right? And
Okay.
I consider that in life, we need a massive amount of resilience just to overcome obstacles and challenges. So that's why we decided from this line to make the Resilience 60 by 6. It's massive, but I like it
I
so
just
much. And
wanna
we
tell you now, is it 16 engage? Yeah,
have,
6 by 60. Yeah.
it is. It is. And I hope at some point you can just enjoy some of these cigars.
Yeah, we wish.
want to show you. This is not. This is like a project. Is for you to see and our friends to see the cigars in general, right? To know what we're talking about. Then we can talk about other things. This is not a final product, but we are working on having this line in a box like this. We have been working on this for a long time, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and this is not finished. The tray has not been finished how it would be, but these are the 9 cigars, right?
Okay.
So here we have
the whole
What
line.
linea is this? What linea is this?
This is the Life Journey line.
Okay.
This is the 9 is the whole line.
Yes.
This is the whole line as it is today, and this is our core line.
Okay.
Because when we designed this line, we decided to name it the Life Journey line because our lives got crossed on the way because of cigars. Because enjoying a cigar, and more than that, making cigars, it's so personal, you know, and you have to put so much of yourself and your life and everything that for me there is nothing that can be more symbolic like the life journey of a person, right? With the cigars, the people that make the cigars, all their history, how they arrived to make cigars, even when you enjoy a cigar. So it's a journey. You start with a cigar and then you go through different stages, and your emotions also, they also go through different moments. And for me, it's very personal. And I always say, I enjoy art. I appreciate art very much, but I am incapable of producing art. So here, I can do a little bit of art. So this is my way of doing something related to art.
A lot of art.
The fine.
For a cigar smoker, that's
a
art.
fine art.
Yes.
It's a fine art also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt and make small introduction of yourself, or would you like to complete the presentation of your box?
No.
Then I introduce you. What you want?
No, you go ahead. I'm sorry because
No.
I'm used to guide conversations in my program, and sometimes from time to time I want to get the leading role. But go ahead. I will answer the questions.
Yeah, but tonight you have the leading role. And I know your character from the interviews, Danays. I know you are a strong character and a very imposing leading character. So don't you mind. Do whatever you want. This is your night tonight with Los Osos. It's your window to this part of the world. Middle Eastern and France and Los Osos members are eager to hear you. So what you want, tell me, we will do it.
Thank you so much. But please go ahead, and I will try to adjust.
Okay. Small introduction, a bit of information from the Google. I don't pretend I knew you before. I will come to what and how I met you, or I got to know you. So Danays is a co-owner of Sperlinka Tobacco, a sommelier and Habano sommelier certified, a master cigar sommelier by the International Association of Cigar Sommelier, and she is the partner of the master cigar sommelier in Europe. She is an associate professor at the Studies Center of the Ministry of Tourism in Cuba for the sommeliers and Habano sommeliers courses. She is a collaborator writer for Excelencia Gourmet, a Latino aficionado, and China Cigar Specialist magazine. She is the host of Smoke and Talk Virtual Lounge. Unfortunately, most of your episodes are in Spanish, but nevertheless,
the last one, yes, but the first one not. There is a mixture.
Yes, with the lady, with the actress, it was in English. Yeah, I watched them all. Don't ask me why. I was in front of the screen listening to Spanish, which fine. I like it. I like it. Anyway, let me continue. All that, and yet, to me, it's my opinion, Danays, you are undervalued. You are underrated and not fully appreciated to the extent of being an unknown in the cigar communities around the world, especially I'm talking our part of the world. Okay? Why? You're very well known in Cuba, Dominican, and probably the USA, but here you are a bit in unknown, unfortunately, and I blame you. I asked myself the question, apparently because your cigar, the Sperlinka, never reached us. Hopefully it will. It has no traces in the area physically or digitally. I understand it didn't reach physically, but even digitally it didn't reach. Secondly, there is almost no reviews of your cigar except for 2 articles. One review by Cigar Sense, the other by Mitch Graves from Passion for Cigars, a very literature review. I loved reading it, and I quote, he was saying, this Mitch Graves, which I don't know, as I smoked the first half, I tried to place the fruitness of the smoke, which is as obvious as it is subtle. In the retrohale, I'm getting notes of a very pleasant bitter apple, possibly a hint of citrus and plums. There is a definite aftertaste that it is very creamy, like I had a drink of a liquor that left a few drops on my cheek. I love these words. And thirdly, the third reason why we don't know you, because no one, and I blame ourselves, interviewed Danays from the Middle East, our world, and we intend tonight to change that. We want to interview.
Thank you so much.
Please, it's our pleasure and our honor. Let me take here an extract. You know that Los Osos worked on a wheel of flavors, and we have a lot of chapters talking about pairing. But we are not certified sommelier. We claim ourselves to be reviewers and sommelier or sort of. So in one of our extract, I will read for you, pairing fish with a straight spirit and a leaf. I'm taking this extract to read it because it explains for people what is pairing. People think that pairing is adding up. Some 20, 25 years ago, I'm writing, and to my surprise, I discovered that there is something extremely companionable between the salty, smoky tang of coastal Scotch whiskey, the salty, sullen flavor of fish and shellfish, and a cigar. The right choice of cigar. It's a kind of transformation, an evolution that takes place when you wrap a piece of tuna sashimi in toasted seaweed with a slice of pickled ginger. So you see here we have the image. Part fish, 1 part salt, 1 part ginger, 1 part heat, result in something that is much more than the sum of its part. This is blending. When adding to it part of smokiness and 1 part of peat, engulf it all with the tannin, mellow tannin of a cigar. This is, and it works, this is pairing. So pairing is not adding up, is this harmonica working together. I don't want to talk much longer. Today, we are going to host you, Your Excellency, La Duchesse Danays Leon Sanchez, wife and partner of Doran Potelinka, Duke of Sperlinka. Then is for you to introduce yourself, who you are, and to tell us about your cigar, please.
Thank you so much. I really love that description. It was an image in words, what you said, about the pairing. And it's very, very interesting. I think only people who are so passionate and with this research and discovery, how can I say it in English? Moved by discovering things and flavors and combinations. Only these type of people can just do this. And it's not that it's restricted to certain amount of people, to certain people. Everybody can achieve that, but you have to be moved by the passion, by the research, by the ambition of knowing different things and tasting different things. We have to discover what palate likes and what palate does not tolerate, or what is pleasant and what is not. And so it's possible for all of us. But what you just said now is a beautiful image. Congratulations. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You take it from here before Qasim. If you want to introduce yourself or your cigar, you have a window before Qasim starts his questions, please, if you like. Or we move to questions, up to you.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Danays, as Elie mentioned before, the Wheel of Flavor, it's you can see it on YouTube. We had an episode, full episode on this issue. If you watch it, I don't know, but if you don't, I suggest to watch and to give us your comment on it. Anyway, welcome again, Danays. My first question for you is before I start the question, I have another question out of this contest. When I watch your interview with Cynthia Fuente in 2020, I guess, you said you promised yourself that you're gonna meet and you're gonna smoke. Did you meet, by the way, since
No.
2020? Oh, no.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna ask you what is your cigar that you promised to smoke together? That's what.
Okay.
No, we haven't met in person, but
Okay.
as far as I know, don't take it for granted, but as far as I know, Cynthia has been in the United States since then.
Yeah.
And I'm in Dominican Republic. I have been traveling, but for 2 years I have been here in Dominican Republic, and I don't think she has been here in all this time. I don't think so. And the other thing is that I haven't been able to travel to United States yet. So
All right. This is it. Okay.
I haven't been so lucky to get a visa yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Danays, let's start with the question. I can promise you one thing. Mine will be easy on you. Elie, I don't guarantee, okay? So my question for you, the first one, is in 1998, you left to Canada, right? Why?
Yes.
And why you did not come back to Cuba? Did she come back, Elie, to Cuba, as you know? I don't know.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
I will tell you.
Yeah, tell us, please.
Yes. Okay. In 1998, I remember I left Cuba January 25th, and the Pope was delivering a mass in the Revolution Square that day. Was during the Jean Paul II visit in Havana, right?
Yeah.
But I went to Canada that day because my ex-husband was appointed to run a company that worked for Cuba.
Okay.
It was, I don't know if you have heard Cubanacan, right? It was a very important tourism company, and this company in Cuba used to have like 15 companies in the national territory and like 9 companies abroad. And Canada was the most important place, I mean, of all these companies abroad. And he was appointed manager of this company. And there I lived for 7 years, and there my daughter was born. And in 2004, September 26th, I returned back to Cuba because it was just for a certain period of time, right? For working and returning back.
Okay, good. Where did you, Danays, where do you live now? In Dominican?
We are in Dominican Republic, in Santiago. And let me tell you something.
Excuse me, Santiago is the capital, right?
No, Santiago is the second city in importance, but it's the world capital of cigars. You know, has been like this. Here is where most of the factories are.
Okay.
And let me tell you that we came here 2 years ago with our clothes and things for staying 3 months to check on the project of the Volcanoes line and to check on, you know, how the things with the Sperlinka and all that had been delayed because of the COVID. And after 2 years, we're still here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Okay.
You know why? Because the thing is that our project got delayed because of the COVID.
Yeah.
And then when we were able to arrive here, we realized that for this business, you have to be in the place if you want the things
You
be
have to be
done the
present.
way you want.
You cannot do
And
it.
yeah, and then we say, we stay. At the moment, the company was a new company, but it was not in the free zone regime. And we said, okay, we have to be in this country with all the legal status and with all the conditions that this life project deserves, because we have put all our resources from all types on this project. So we said, okay, we'll stay here until this starts working well. And we have been for 2 years. From being a company outside the free zone system, we applied to the government. We were given 1 year ago the free zone system. Now we are here in the office where Sperlinka is, in one of the Santiago's free zone. So we said, okay, we don't want to make cigars or somebody to make cigars for us, to have some rings and put to and try to sell. No, we want our cigars to take part of our heart and dreams in each of them. And for that, you have to be here.
Yeah,
and you
exactly.
have to be on top of this. It's not easy, let me tell you.
Exactly.
It's not
You're right.
easy.
Yeah,
But
you're
here
right.
we are, and we are alive.
Yalla, hopefully for the better. Yalla, Eli, it's your turn. Start.
It's a simple question. I don't want you to take it negatively or out of sarcasm, but I watched your interview with Great Cigar and Pipe Show like 3 months ago. Do you remember it?
Yes.
I have to confess, Danays, frankly, I lost you guys totally after the minute 50. I love the first part. I love the first part, talking bits and pieces about you, Darren. Later you talked about the blend. And puff, minute 50 onward, it was chaos, people laughing. You didn't talk much. Darren wasn't following much. What happened? Yani, I don't pretend to be a follower. I don't understand very much the American accent or the American way, but I lost you totally, guys. Was I wrong or?
No, the thing is that, you know, there are different type of live shows, right? So there is this, like yours, like mine, that I just talk to the guest, and then we receive questions from the audience and all. But there are other type of shows in which they interact and they have, you know, publicity and things like this, and they have like a script. And then, of course, I think that if you have sponsors, you have to meet, you know, certain requirements or things to come in, because you're committed to these sponsors, and then you have to keep the interest of the audience by making some raffles and things like this. And it's a different dynamic, you know.
I love the guys. Don't misunderstand me. I love the guys.
Listen, they are great
I love
people,
them
great
completely. They are great
just a
guys.
different dynamic.
White hair like mine. I love everything about them. But something down the road, blame it on me, I couldn't follow anymore. Anyway, that's not the question. Let me move to my question. For you as a sommelier, is it an accurate statement to say that 30, 40 years ago, a sommelier job was much easier when sommeliers had to study the 30 plus Cuban brands or the 200 Cuban cigar plus, while nowadays it's almost impossible for a sommelier to revise and memorize a bracket of thousands of cigars from the New World? In other words, how a sommelier of today can possibly suggest a pairing for every conceivable new cigar while they are in the thousands?
Well, it's impossible. It's impossible. The thing is that what you said is true. A few years ago, or well, 40 years is not a few years, but probably was easier, right? I think that in these things, when it comes to pairings and suggesting things, your sensory memory is very important, you know. You need to take into consideration some psychology too. because you need to know your customer or the person that you're going to suggest. You need to ask few questions in order to give an appropriate suggestion or recommendation. It's very difficult. I haven't smoked all the cigars. I don't know all the brands. I smoked a lot. But let me tell you, in the last 2 years, I have been smoking Sperlinkas by thousands, you know, because I said, okay, from time to time I smoke other cigars, but now this is the time for my brand, and I need to know my brand, and I smoke the same cigar early in the morning without breakfast. I smoke in the afternoon after eating something. I smoke in the evening. I smoke in different moments, because I need to know my cigar, how I perceive my cigar in different moments. And I want to show you around a little bit, and I will go back to your question. Let me finish this to answer your question, and then I will just show you around to understand what we do here. It's very difficult, but if you have a basic knowledge, if you are a person, because everybody can take a course and says that it's a sommelier, you know, but to be a sommelier and cigar sommelier, it takes not only theory, because you can repeat like a parrot what you read in a document, but you need to train your palate. To train your palate means to taste, to try things. You have to build your sensory memory. You need to smell the good and the bad. And you need to stop if it is raining and smell the petrichor, which is something amazing. And it's something that you can find in wines, and it's something that you can find in cigars too. You need to know, to feel, to smell the grass when it's recently cut, freshly cut. You need to smell everything, because that enriches, right, your sensory memory. And then it's like drawers. And then when you smoke a cigar, and then you say, okay, this tastes like, okay, in all this information I have here, if you have been building your sensory memory, you know which drawer to pull out this note. But otherwise, then you say, this tastes like something I know, but I don't know, I don't remember what,
Exactly.
right? So
it's like a hint. You cannot put your hand on it, put your finger on it, I mean.
Exactly, I'm sorry. So that's the thing, that's the way of training yourself and training others on discovering flavors and aromas and all that. It's a very difficult job, and I think it takes a lot of common sense too.
Perfect.
A lot of common sense.
Perfect.
So you have to study, but you have to practice a lot. You have to taste different things, make different combinations. For instance, I smoke very much lately with water. Why? Because I'm studying my cigars. I cannot tell you, sorry, I cannot tell you that a cigar, you can smoke a cigar for the first time, pairing it with something, some drinks, not even coffee. If
Exactly.
you want to know the cigar, you need to smoke your cigar with water.
Exactly.
Once you know your cigar, once you know the notes the cigar has, then you can say, okay, according to my knowledge, according to what I have tasted before, I think it might be good with this whiskey, with this cognac, or with this rum, right? Because for us, the star is the cigar. All the rest goes around the cigar. It's not, I have a whiskey and I'm going to get a cigar for this whiskey. For us, and I respect everybody's opinion, but for us, first the cigar, and the rest are elements that just are combined with the cigar. So it's a very difficult job. It is. But you need to know the cigars first. And you know, let me just make a comment here. I consider that even though they only study Habanos, I consider one of the most comprehensive, complete preparations in terms of a cigar sommelier is the Habano sommelier. And why? Is because by the program is designed for you to be a sommelier first. So you need to study the wines, the spirits, the coffee, even tea and all that. And after you have this base, then you study the cigars. Not because the cigars are in the second position, it's that you need to be able to say, this cigar goes with this drink, you need to know about drinks. So you may know about cigars and how to taste the cigar, but to combine, you need to have this other knowledge too.
Exactly.
And I stop here. I don't want to make it boring. But
okay.
I was going to say that I have been smoking with water for a long time now because I need to know my cigars.
You need to get familiar with your cigar.
Exactly, and how I react in different moments and with different state of minds, you know.
Totally right.
Sometimes I smoke one cigar, and this is a suggestion, and you are experts in this, and you can tell this to your audience too and your friends. When you smoke a cigar and it's not pleasant, the smoke, don't blame the cigar at first. Analyze.
Check your palate first.
Important. How do you feel when you lit the cigar?
Exactly.
Were you in a good mood? Were you returning back from the work and something didn't go well at work and you are a little bit sour? The cigar is going to be sour. You know?
Exactly.
So to light a cigar, to smoke a cigar, you need to have, you know, to feel like doing it. Otherwise, if you just light a cigar because you're nervous, it's not gonna taste good. Because it has been scientifically proven that when a human being is not in a good state of mind and emotional state or whatever, the things that they taste different. You know, doctor, tell me if I'm speaking something right or wrong, please.
Danays, you're right, because if you are nervous, you can smoke, but you cannot taste. There is a lot of difference between smoke and taste.
Your body temperature, whatever you have eaten an hour ago, how tired are you? The weather, environment weather, are you angry or at peace? Everything contributes to the experience of the moment.
There is a lot of factors. Yeah.
Even what you ate before too. Because your palate can be saturated or your
we did something about you need to eat something simple, not too much ingredient in it,
not too much spices, because they can, if they are very hot, they can just destroy part of your taste buds, and then you won't be able to perceive the taste of the cigar and all.
We add to this in Los Osos methodical or Los Osos ways. We add that you can't have 5 cigars in a row or 3 or even 2 and judge well your cigar. It has to have, your palate need to rest, need to get rid of the alkaline. You need to rinse your palate and then smoke another cigar. We tackled all 100%. And we appreciate what you're telling. Is it my turn or your turn?
Go ahead. My turn. Danays, I like in one of your interview that you said, and it's very true, the cigar is the star of the show and the rest goes around it. Yeah, it's very true. Yeah. Danays, let me ask you, where did you study sommelier?
In Cuba.
In Cuba only. Can you tell us more about the sommelier courses, let's say?
Well, I became a sommelier in Cuba and after Habano sommelier. But let me tell you, I live in Canada, and being in Canada, you know, the Cuban community of people, you know, who are working for companies and things and the diplomats and all, it's normal to gather, to have meetings and all. And like in many countries, you know, Habanos, they have the representation or their companies or whatever. In Canada was like this. And from time to time, the people just used to smoke cigars. And I said, that's so nice. And it took me back to my childhood. My father used to smoke cigars. And this is not part of a story that I have to build to make this, me making cigars interesting. It is like this, because when I decided to become, or to know, because I did not decide to become a sommelier or a Habano sommelier, I wanted to know more. And then I found a way. And this was the way, becoming a sommelier and then after a Habano sommelier. And then the smell was so nice. And I thought of my father and I said, okay, it's nice. It reminds me a lot when I was a child, him smoking cigars. And I wanted to know more. And that way I took different courses and I started talking to different people. I got into this Balcón del Habano. The literal translation is Habano's balcony, you know, because it was founded in the President Terrace, which was a big balcony in Havana. And it's a professional group of sommeliers and Habano sommeliers, and to talk about, to make cigars, to discuss about pairings and all that. And I started getting into all those groups, and then one thing led to the other one, and then I took one course, and then I took the other one. I said, oh, that's so interesting. But not because I wanted to work in that. It just, I wanted to know more because it was very interesting. And for me, it was not enough to say why a cigar is kind of sweet. Why is it sweet? And is it sweeter after it's been aged longer? Yes, why? So I started like this. And then I started writing because I had to make a year paper, and the magazine told me, why don't you just publish this? And I go, okay. And one thing just led to the other one. And I enjoyed it so much. And being just personal interest to develop something, it just became a profession.
Yeah.
You know, it was not the only thing I used to do in Cuba, but I just combined, you know, making this or preparing these pairings and tastings with teaching and with working in other things. So that's it. And then after all that, those were my life. And he had his brand here in Dominican Republic. It was very new, and he wanted to develop this. And I said, okay, let's just work together to see where we go with this. That's
okay.
how it has been.
And the main course, if I understand you, the main course in sommelier is the pairing, right?
In the cigars, yes.
Yeah, is the pairing.
Yes,
this
that's basic.
The purpose
this is the
of
purpose.
the whole.
Exactly.
Okay, and it's a 1 year study or more or less. I don't know.
Well, combined both sommelier and Habano sommelier, it was like 3 years. You know.
Exactly. Excuse me.
3 years.
3
Combined
years.
sommelier.
Okay.
And Habano
3 years.
sommelier.
Okay.
3 years. Yeah.
Do you know Dailin, the Cuban girl that used to compete in the Habanos World Challenge?
Of course. Of course. I love her.
We compete against her in 2019.
I know.
She's a nice lady. Yeah. Okay.
I think I'm not sure, but I think that she was connected. I think I saw her name there, and if she's still connected, a big kiss for her. And Dailin is very professional, and Dailin has this in her, which is just to keep growing and learning every day. Nobody knows everything.
Nobody.
It's not possible. And
exactly.
every day I say there are so many other things to learn. My God.
You cannot stop learning. You cannot stop learning.
I come to work every day and I say, okay, but I know nothing. Today I learned this or that. And every time you talk to a person who has been in the industry for so many years, and you go to the fields and you talk to the people who just work with the leaves and in the pre-industry part of the process.
Every day there is something new.
So many
Every
things.
day there is something new.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Eli?
You know, coming to this point, Danays, I spent till now 3 years of my life trying to touch a cigar, smell the food, and tells approximately what is the blend, and I'm still hooked with the wrapper. I'm good now. I can hit 7, 8 out of 10, but it took me really years.
It is like this.
Yeah, but it took me years. Anyway, my question, I watched your video on Fuente and Mirapfel. I don't know if that's the pronunciation. In the episode Meet the Professor in November 2020, Qasim mentioned the episode. It was the Fuentes, the Professor, and the Godfather. And I heard you saying that sweet drinks might mask the cigar profile and flavors. My question to you is, why alcohol, and especially the 40+ degree alcohol spirits, does not mask the cigar flavor, while the sweet does?
I'm sorry, Ellie. I just missed part of what you said. Do you mind just repeating, Ellie, please?
In this episode with Fuentes,
Yes.
I heard you saying that sweet drinks might mask the cigar profile and flavors. My question, why not alcohol, especially the one that it is 40 degree plus, does not mask the cigar flavor? It's so strong.
Okay. It's true, but the thing is that sugar stays in your palate, right? For instance, I drink a lot of coffee, but for many years I drink coffee without sugar. Doesn't matter how strong the coffee is, because I want to taste the coffee. But if I put sugar, it just stays part of that sugar. It's like I feel my palate like the word is not nice, but let's say a little bit dirty. You know, you feel when you have something very sweet, you feel that something stays there. So obviously, exactly. That's a better word. You're nicer than me.
No, I'm following up.
So then we suggest not to drink very sweet drinks, because this sugar that covers your taste buds, they can just mask the taste of the cigar. Of course, alcohol, if you, depending also how you drink, you know, but alcohol, let's say, it helps to dilute the components of the smoke. So it helps.
Alcohol evaporates faster.
So it helps a little bit to appreciate, you know, the cigar. But this is not about, okay, if I drink and then I get a puff. For me, there has to be a coexistence of the notes of both, you know, because if one erases the other one, then there is no pairing, obviously. For instance, Dorian and I were making just this experiment in Cuba one day with some drinks that we had and some cigars that we were given. And then I remember it was this Churchill Romeo and Juliet, the añejados, which I love. And I love añejados. I love vintage cigars. And then we tried an Armenian drink. I don't remember the name now. But the thing is that I said, how's possible? This cigar has been aged for 12 years because of the date on the box and all that. And this drink, which is a brandy, it was strong in alcohol content. It was well aged and all. I felt that the cigar was overcoming, you know, was more powerful. And I said, okay, let's have a little bit, the sip bigger. And then there was balance, because I was just sipping. So the amount.
You took the words out of my mouth. Sorry to interrupt, Danays. The key to pairing is sipping, is small quantities. Don't drink much, guys. Don't eat much when you want to pair a cigar. You took the words out of my mouth. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
No, not at all. This is a conversation, and it's very nice. And the other thing is that if you're gonna drink and you're gonna have, let's say, a spirit, which is usually high in alcohol content, you need to have first one sip and let us get accustomed, used to the, you know, this first shock. When you're having a wrong taste, I always say, okay, first take a sip and let it go around your tongue, in your mouth, and you will feel this first sip you're not going to enjoy. You're not going to be capable or able to appreciate, because it's the first impact of the alcohol. In the second one, when the taste buds, they just, you know, they already met the alcohol, then it's possible to appreciate it better.
Perfect. Perfect.
Can I interrupt 1 second? Because I want, Dorian is here with me, and I want him to say hi to you.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, hello.
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 Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Hi,
you too.
Dorian. How are you?
Hi. How are
I'm
you?
okay. I listened to what my wife talked to you here.
Yeah. We do also.
By any chance, Dorian, do you need ministers? I can send you Qasim, my friend and partner here. So
He wanna get rid of me.
You appoint him a minister in your kingdom, or yeah.
He wants to get rid of
Take
me.
him. Take him.
One-way ticket.
I let you talk. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice meeting
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Bye. Yes.
So,
Please.
sorry for the interruption.
Please, no. Tell me. I move to the other question. We're done here. Hello?
You let me know.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
You
go ahead,
want to
if you like.
continue, or you want to continue on the point, or you want to move on? Tell me, Danays.
No, it's up to you. I just want to.
You answered, right?
Yes, please go ahead. Ask questions. It's fine.
I also heard you talking about avoiding pairing that overwhelms our cigar, referring to sweet and the tannin in wine, which is my field. I love wine. I have a small essay on pairing wine with Cubans. Unfortunately, not every cigar. But my question: why is it that a drink high in alcohol, again, does not overpower our cigar, while tannin, comparable to ammonia in a cigar, both implicate harshness? Why not the vice versa? Why not ammonia in a cigar does not overwhelm our drink? I'm still in the same area.
Yeah. Well, let's divide two things here. Yeah. One thing is ammonia, and another thing is tannicity, right? Or product which is tannic. If you have a cigar in which you can perceive a lot of ammonia, don't smoke it. It means that hasn't been well fermented, the tobacco hasn't been well aged, because that's something that has to be liberated over time during these processes, right? There might be some residues, of course, because this is a product that continues evolving over time, even after being rolled in the boxes for years and years. But ammonia as such, if you perceive ammonia in a considerable way in a cigar, let it rest. If it is one from one box, let the box there rest and let that go, because it's not even healthy, right? It's not good for our health. And it's a very unpleasant smell. Now, in the case of tannicity, let's say, it's not a flavor. Let me see if I remember the word in English now. It's like the term. I'm trying to remember the term, because it's not a flavor. What it does is just tannins. What they do, they just make your palate dry, right? They make it dry. So it's
metallic.
My God,
it's more metallic.
No, but it's a term that I use so much, and now I cannot remember. This is the problem with the glasses and the age. My God. Okay, it will come to my mind. But the thing is that when your palate gets very dry because of the tannicity of a product, wine or anything, it's not pleasant. If you, on top of that, put another product, let's say that you get a sip of a wine, which is...
You're talking about alkaline. You're talking about adding alkaline to alkaline.
Yeah, but the thing is that the palate is already dry because of this. It's like when you eat, you know that, I'm explaining for the friends, right? When you eat a fruit which is not completely ripe, and you feel that the mucus gets
It's
like,
dry.
you know, dry because, you know, the tanners, the people that work with leather, they are called tanners because they used to apply a solution made of tannins, right?
The same that it is in the
For
old,
cleaning the leather.
the same liquid that it was in old car batteries.
Yeah, it is present in the trees, in the fruits, you know, in vegetables, very much. And it's a way of protecting also. It's a natural way of them for protection in the case of the trees and all that. But what it does is like they get together all the cells, you know, and that's why you feel like it is very dry. That's the purpose of using the tannins for curing the leather. In the case of the tannins, right? It's exactly the same. So that's what happens in your mucus. And if on top of that, after having this sensation, tactile sensation, that's the word, that's the expression. Now it came to my mind. Tactile sensation, that's what you have. It's not a taste, it's a tactile sensation, which is the same like when you eat something which is hot. Not hot in temperature, but spicy, right?
Okay.
So it's an effect on the mucus and on the taste buds. And then if you have this one, might be tannic, and then on top of that, you have a cigar. Sometimes cigars, they can be tannic too. It's made of a leaf or leaves, right? So they can be tannic and they can have that same effect. Not so much like a tannic wine, but it has the same effect. So you are reinforcing that tactile sensation and can be unpleasant. That's why we suggest pairing red wines, for instance, that can be tannic, to have the wine with elegant tannins, you know, not young, fresh tannic wine, but old aged tannic wine,
okay,
in which the tannins evolve and they are elegant. They are not so aggressive in the palate.
I always compare,
I don't know if I answered the question.
Yes, 100%. I always compare, that's why I always compare ammonia to tannicity or tannin in the wine. Both of them should be mellowed, rested, and that evolved over the years and the age. You're totally right. You're
Yeah. Danays, let me now take you back to the old, to the young age. Can you tell us if you remember where, what was your first cigar, and at what age, and when you have your first cigar?
Well, before cigars, I had alcohol, right?
Okay.
At a very young age. My father used to have rum in the house all the time, not because he just made me drink or something, but I got it from him. And I remember that the first rum that I had in my life was Flor de Caña from Nicaragua, you know. Not even Havana Club, it was Flor de Caña. He used to have these very big bottles of Flor de Caña in Cuba, and at that time, and I had it, and I liked it very much. And I inherit his tolerance, you know. So I can drink considerable amount of alcohol without being affected. Not everybody is like this. So I consider that I have a very high tolerance to alcohol.
Yeah, you have a high tolerance. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that I drink every day. I do not. And more and more I drink less and less, because I told you, I all the time smoking cigars and trying to know the cigar, and then I have a lot of water. So I have drinks just when I'm working, and if it is a pairing or something, or in a social occasion. But most of the time I have water, to be honest. It's what I do. But I enjoy alcohol. And you know what? Cigars. Being in Canada, I said that I smell that you know, smoke. It was so pleasant. And then when I returned back to Cuba in 2004 is when I started, you know, wanting to learn more and more. There is a small article at the end of Cigar Journal in one of the issues, which is called My Most Memorable Cigar. And I have to tell you that consciously, because I smoked before, unconsciously, you know,
Wow.
when I say consciously smoking,
Wow.
in the sense of consciously smoking to taste the cigar, not because somebody else was smoking, okay, get a puff to see what it is. No, smoking to learn. It was in one of these events, Balcón del Habano, and the person next to me was Mikey. And Mikey used to be the vice president of Habanos. Mikey now is the manager of a Carrillo factory here in Dominican Republic, you know. And Mikey is a very well-known person in Habanos and in cigars. And it was my honor to have him there. And he lit the cigar for me, and he just gave me the cigar, and he explained to me a lot of things. I remember it was Romeo and Juliet, Churchill. And for me, it was like waking up. I said, wow, here there is something which is amazing, you know. That's what I say unconsciously, because you do not, before probably I tasted something, but it was just like without any interest or paying attention to what I was doing. But for me, I consider that the first real smoke.
Let's say the Romeo and Juliet Churchill, it was the first cigar that you are aware of. Okay.
It was an awakening, you know. It was what took me inside of this world.
That shocked you.
First, this experience of smelling in Canada, there I tried, but little bit and all that, but just to do it in a professional environment with people, with knowledgeable people explaining things to me and telling me this is the way it is done and this like that. That was, I can say that was the first experience.
Danays, let me ask you, what is your favorite cigar? And you are free to say not Sperlinka, even if Doran is next to you. You can say whatever you want. What is your favorite cigar?
Well, you know.
The truth. Don't be biased.
No, not at all. If I'm going to talk about my favorite cigars, I have to talk about Habanos, you know, because
which one?
I really like very much this Churchill, which is añejados, very much. That for me, that's a beautiful smoke.
The Monte Cristo Churchill añejados.
You know, it's Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet Churchill añejados.
Yes. It was a very limited. Yes,
very limited. In a grey tube.
Yeah. I remember. I have it. Yeah, sure. And the tube, the old presentation of the Churchill tubes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great.
It's true. It's in the aluminum tubes.
Yeah.
But that's a beautiful smoke.
Yeah,
beautiful smoke. Yeah. I like very much. I haven't smoked them for a long time, but I liked very much. Partagas Seridin number 4.
You're close to my favorite. Okay. I'm a big fan of Partagas Serie E number 2.
Okay. But I'm talking about my past, because I don't want to talk about Sperlinka, right? And I come from Cuba.
We will come to that later.
I come from Cuba. This is the Habanos is my beginning into this. And let me tell you, when I was smoking, when I was in Cuba, I smelled sometimes people smoking other cigars, and I said, okay, this is not Habanos, you know. But you have to open your mind, because there are excellent cigars in other parts of the world, excellent. And my palate had to get used
like
to
this,
the flavors of all the cigars.
We all start like this. We grow up on Cuban cigar. And now we are now open for the rest of the world. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but Habanos are in the heart all the time.
Definitely.
All the time. It's not
should
possible
be.
to love them, you know.
You cannot forget it.
You're both not biased. I can feel that.
Okay.
I can sense your
and this line of
neutrality.
question, in this line of a question, I have one more question, and then I leave to Elite to ask you the rest. What is your favorite cigar of your father? Since your father since you mentioned now is that your father smokes cigar.
You know, my father used to smoke cigars when cigars that these cigars, they didn't have a ring, you know?
This is
So,
this is why I'm asking you, because I love
you know,
I love so much this period of time that the true aficionado smoke cigar without band, without showing off, without anything, just for the pleasure and for the passion of the cigar. That's it.
I never saw a ring in one of my father's cigars. And my father was military, right? And you know, it's normal. And in that moment of his life, just to smoke cigars, everybody did it.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. I just saw him smoking cigars and having a cigar in the mouth or in the hand. And more than anything, the smell. I don't remember what he smoked. I don't know. But
Let's say say it's custom roll. Since it hasn't been, there is no band on the cigar.
yes.
Okay. Eli.
Two more questions in the same vicinity of the problem. I hope we're not boring you nor the audience with these type of questions. Cynthia Fuente, the last two, the last three questions about that. Pairing, sorry.
Or four.
Yeah. Cynthia Fuente on the same show stated that cigar should stand on its own and that no pairing is needed whatsoever. And she continued that any drink should only be a complementary to your cigar. I find this very biased. My question, why do we all overrate our cigars and presume that everything else is being sacrificed in the name of our cigar? While I truly believe that pairing is a two-way process, a two-way road, and a two-way love affair. Though I expect my drink or my food to counterpart or balance my cigar, I also, and conversely, expect my cigar to fulfill my drink and my food experience. What is your opinion on that matter?
Okay, just 1 second, because this is just the precise moment in which the garbage truck is passing by.
Okay.
And it's a little bit noisy, you know. So we are in a free zone. This is an industrial area. So I can show you outside at some point for you to see, and the factory next door where some of our cigars are made and all. Okay, I did not hear 100%, but you tell me if I got the question right.
Ask her the question.
I don't think that we in pairing we sacrifice anything. When I say that for us, for cigar sommeliers, the main figure, the start of the show is the cigar, because we analyze the process of pairing from the smoking point of view, right? So you know very well your cigars, and you know that you want to smoke a cigar, and then you need to complement your cigar with something, which
both ways. Don't get me wrong. I am an aficionado and an epicure. You are a sommelier and you are a creator and producer of cigar. Cynthia Fuente is too. So the whole word for you is the cigar. But let's talk aficionado to aficionada. It should be two ways. It should be two ways.
No, in the moment you decide to put this together with this, it has to be both ways. Necessarily. You know,
both.
Because otherwise it doesn't work. So
yes, to enjoy both of them.
Exactly. So it's something dynamic. So it has to be, your cigar has to enhance and complement the flavors of your drink, and your drink also do the same with the cigar. And the notes, they have to coexist. So that's why it's called pairing. Doesn't mean that this product needs to have the same sensory or organoleptic properties of this other one, because they can be just in a contrast, but it's pleasant. As long as it is pleasant to your palate, and you still can feel flavor and taste both, it's nice, you know? So it's not because this is less important than the other ones. I don't think it's like this. It has to go, like you say, both ways.
Let me hammer again on the same subject. When asked by Jeremiah Mirafel, the godfather, about pairing cigars with wine, you and Jeremiah both agreed that it is a very difficult mission, raising up the issue of tannin and what it must be, a balanced and pleasant tannin, all that, etc. While in our Los Osos book, the wine, considering its similarity to cigar, it's an obvious and easy pairing, knowing that tannin in a wine is an integral part of tobacco. Alcohol in a wine varies between 11 and 13%. It's not overwhelming, unlike the whiskey.
Yeah, it's true.
And referring to Carlito in the same episode, he said, I quote, "The world has changed. The world of pairing has changed," Carlito said. When Carlito was growing up, he continues to say, cigar was exclusively paired with cognac, whiskeys, and rum. Nowadays, Carlito is saying, aficionados pairing has developed, and many pairs with almost anything: chocolate, tea, coffee, wine, and champagne. What's your say on the matter? Sorry, I'm repeating. I'm still in the same area.
No, I agree 100% on that. Probably many years ago, it was not precisely rum, cognac, or whiskey what was paired with cigars. I believe that the natural pairing, the simple one, is coffee for us, and probably tea for you, right? Or maybe coffee too. So that's for us the basic. That's for us the natural pairing. Before any sophisticated drink, coffee, which is something simple from the countryside, like it is a cigar at the beginnings, you know. So pairing cigars, like you said, referring to wine, and like I said before in that interview, with wine, pairing cigars with wine is difficult. But why is difficult? Because you need to know both. Because if you, for instance, a lot of people, they like to pair white wine with cigars. I don't say that they don't go, but I can tell you that there are certain white wines that might not be the most appropriate for pairing with cigars. It all depends on the wine, and it all depends on the cigar. Because if you have a very fresh, young, acidic white wine, might not be good for your cigar. You need to know both products. You need to know what they do to your palate, how you perceive them. You need to know how strong, how intense your cigar is, and how intense the drink is. Intensity doesn't come in a drink only by the content of alcohol, but also from the aging process. So, because it makes the product more complex, it makes it intense also. Sorry, maybe in the type of variety of grape that is used for making the wine. So some wines, they are really not the most recommendable for cigars, because you may drink something, you are drinking something, but maybe you are not having the best experience. If you combine the same cigar with other type of wine, maybe you can enhance your experience, you know, because there is this connection between them. It's difficult because the world of wine is so wide. It's huge. So many wines. And the world of cigars is the same. So you need to know both before. And for instance, there are these guidelines that if you're going to make let's say a pairing with a cigar, you divide the cigar in 3/3, and because of the evolution of the cigar, and of course you're going to have different intensities in your cigar in each part, and you should go the same with the drink, right? So it doesn't make any sense to start with the strongest or the most intense drink at the beginning of the cigar, and then take another drink which is lower in intensity and strength and all in the second, third, which is where everything, you know, where's the explosion of flavors and all. So,
yes.
there are a lot of factors to take into consideration. But it's not that I disagree with pairing with wine. I love wine, and I like to pair with cigars. We have a cigar which is called the Dream. The Dream is what is in this the Life Journey line. The Dream is a box-pressed trumpet, and it's a very unusual shape for a cigar, and that's why it is called the Dream. But at the same time, has this Negro San Andres wrapper. And
yes, that's my favorite with your, without tasting anything. That's my favorite in your whole, with the binder Dominican and the filler Dominican, but a San Andres wrapper. Yeah, I remember the Dream, yes.
So here, maybe because of the light, you don't see it so dark, but this cigar, from all this line, is the cigar, if you ask me now, which cigar of yours would you pair with red wine?
The Dream. 58 times 6, 54 times, and the choice. And I think the choice is also. Do you think the choice is another good cigar from your selection for the wine pairing?
Yes, but you see, it takes this, you know, to know how things taste. It's a long process, but it's a beautiful process. And what we do is just to discover the flavors of everything. And then you get, for instance, these pure grapes, and then you start tasting the tobacco itself. Let's taste Negro San Andres, just itself, and you smoke these pure grapes we call. You know, you roll a little cigar made of only one tobacco type to see. Not to see, to taste, the opposite of seeing, to taste how, you know, how it is in your palate, to make a retro nasal and to see how it goes also, to enhance the, so it takes time, but it's beautiful, you know, and there is no universal truth when it comes to pairing.
Yeah, sure not. I leave it for two questions with Qasim before I come, and I promise to one more question on pairing, a very dear one to me. Please go ahead, Qasim. Let's rest with your questions, and we come back to my
let me take you to just cigars. Forget about the pairing now. Since you are Cuban, okay, you can shed a light on this hustle that happening in the past 2 years. What can you tell us about the Cuban cigar industry, okay? And what is the future of it? Because, you know, every year we hear some, I don't know if it's rumor or true, hurricane, damages, seeds, I don't know. Every time we have something for the lack of cigars. What can you tell us about this matter? And in extent to this point, what can you tell us about the New World cigar regarding industry?
You know, talk about the industry of the Cuban cigars is very difficult. Whoever knows the truth, raise your hands.
Nobody.
Why don't take answers from me? Okay. Okay.
You know, I don't know what it's.
Modestly.
It's a big secret. I don't know why. Nobody can know the truth behind it. Nobody. And you can hear different story from each one.
It's very difficult, and it's a very let's say complicated soil to walk on, you know, and to give an opinion on that, more than anything for myself, because I have been out of Cuba for 2 years now. So my information is, you know, exactly the same information that everybody has, the public information. I really don't have any idea about, you know, intrinsic things. We know that they have problems, and
Definitely.
everybody knows that the Habanos, they have got problems with the quality, which is a shame because, to be honest, the Cuban tobacco is a great tobacco. It's something amazing, you know, but you can ruin that quality if you do not make a good cigar.
Exactly. It's a shame to waste it.
It's a shame, but
Denise,
all that,
can you believe, I don't know if you know that, 2 or 3 years, they don't have a draw master to check the draw in the whole factories in all Cuba? Is it possible? They cannot buy,
the,
they cannot buy a draw master machine for 2 or 3 years in a row?
we all know that the situation in Cuba is very complicated, and whatever affects the macro affects the micro.
Of course. Sure.
So it's just, it goes down from here down to the whole society, and so it's very complicated. I just hope for everything to be corrected on time and not to lose our
That's what we
Habanos
hope
that
to
we
also.
like so much. You know, like we are used to enjoy them, the Habanos that we like.
Yeah, you're right. And what about the New World cigar? What can you tell us? We can see Danays. It's growing fast and growing strong. In the past 50 years, if you go back 50 years ago, barely you can hear or you can see the New World cigar. Nowadays, you can see all over, and even they are now overcoming the Cuban by, I don't want to compare apple to apple, but they are very good cigar. They are very good in construction and everything, and selection of
Excellent
leaves, of
cigars.
everything.
There are a lot of very good cigars, and for Habano smokers can be a little bit difficult because their palates are used to the flavors.
So,
I'm sorry. It's possible to get yourself used to new flavors and experiences. You only have to open your mind, and for instance, when you are having a research, let's say a social research, so the researcher should get away or put aside all his or her principles or his or her beliefs
exactly.
to
You have to be
face.
objective.
You have to be objective, but you cannot be affected by your previous knowledge of something. So for the sake of the enjoyment of cigars, I suggest the smokers to open themselves to the new experiences. There are so many good cigars, and you know the beauty of the cigars in the New World, as it is called, that there are so many varieties. The possibilities of blending are endless.
Yeah.
Endless.
Many fields from different countries.
From different.
You have a big amount of blend you can do, and you cannot get over it.
But imagine in grapes, you have Cabernet Sauvignon planted in France, and not everywhere in France, in one region of France, because inside France is different, the expression of one region and the other one. And the same Cabernet Sauvignon is taken to California and to any other country. The expression is going to be different, but what is giving us as smokers is endless possibilities of enjoyment.
Exactly.
So people, they need to open their minds and taste new things, not only because of flavor, but because of these other companies. Many of them, they work so hard to have a high quality, you know, in their cigars. So, you know, when you have a family business, for instance, it's like a family restaurant, you know.
Yeah.
You want the food to be exceptional because you know what you cook, you know what you do, and you know it's nice, and you enjoy when you see somebody eating your food. So when somebody smokes our cigars and they come back with a very nice feedback, it's so rewarding, because it means that all that we have been working for it's worth it, because the ultimate purpose of making cigars is the enjoyment of the smokers. It's not only making money, because I'm telling you, little companies, they go through a lot of hardships. We are a small company, and you have to endure so many difficulties, challenges, and the competition, and the way the big ones are with the small ones also, you know? So it's very difficult.
Very.
Yeah.
Very difficult. But that's why we appreciate very much what we do. Very much. And we want the cigars to be good, because I cannot give something to a person that I don't like, you know?
Exactly. Danays, talking about cigar, what you can tell us about the Sperlinka cigar? When it will reach the market, let's say at least for our region. Do you have a plan for the cigar to be here in our region?
Just one second. Torin, do you mind just turning this a little bit to this side, please? Because I'm a little bit melting here. Okay, thank you. Okay, sorry. You know, my perception of business is that there is no small, no big business. All is business. So I don't care if a country buys few cigars or thousands of cigars. I want our cigars to be everywhere, no matter what, no matter the size of the market.
Right.
I want Sperlinkas to be known, to be tasted. And I always expect, you know how it is when you do something good, or when kids, they do something good and they expect, you know, the parents to say, okay, that good for you, what you did was great. You know, I got into that mood when somebody smokes our cigars, and I wait for the feedback. Can be good, can not be good, doesn't matter. I want to know what they think. And then I get a little bit nervous, waiting for the reviews to come back, you know, because for us, this is our life. It's very important.
Exactly.
And in the case of Lebanon, exactly, we got in touch with somebody, a contact that we were given a long time ago, and but well, did not work. And we are open to discuss with everybody, and to put our cigars everywhere. At this point, we are in Cyprus for more than a year now. Our brand, as a brand, is registered in the European Union, but our products are registered also in the European Union. So we have created all the conditions to be able to sell everywhere. So that tells you that we have taken this in a very serious way. That's why it's so slow also, because the process of registering everywhere is complicated and is slow. And they are sold also in the Canary Islands,
okay,
and in Romania too. And now we are entering in France and Germany. We have Germany, France, and Switzerland. They're just finishing some negotiations on things. And also in the United States. We are not in the United States yet, but we are entering soon.
Okay.
So we wish we could sell in many other places. It's, you know, this type of business, when you're small, it's like, you know, the old sellers that they used to go door to door, knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Here I have this, you know. So it's a little bit like this. So I do that a lot.
The startup
because
is not easy.
It's like the whole world is against you. It's like the whole world is against you. I understand.
You've proven yourself.
Yes.
I have one question. I have one question, and I promised, bear with me, this is the last challenging question. After that, it will be just chatting, and will let me benefit one more time. It's a bit, what I'm going to say now, it's a bit controversial, or at least contradicting to your beliefs. You mentioned, please bear with me, is that okay, Danays?
Go ahead.
You mentioned that you do not recommend a cold drink, cocktail, when pairing with the cigar. something that made me go back to my notes when we were at Los Osos composing our wheel of flavor. I would love to email you this one day, and you maybe give me an educated opinion on the wheel of flavor that we have built, Qasim and I. According to our excessive notes at the time, we encouraged cold beverage over hot beverage for the exact reason you mentioned, to mellow the harsh alkaline flavors in a cigar, the ammonia, the leather, and the earth. And allow me to elaborate. Please bear with me. Ice cream gets sweeter as it gets warmer. When it is frozen, it's pleasantly little sweet. But when it is melted, it's excessively sweet or too sweet. Refrigerated chocolate is less sweet. Research shows it is also less chocolatey and less creamy when it is cold. Beer, let's take this example. Beer tastes bitter when it gets warmer. From Los Osos Notes of Wheel of Flavors, I quote here, if you were to have a spoon of ice cream, you warm the ice cream up in your mouth before you swallow it, enabling the sweet sensational taste of sugar and cream to swim around your mouth. If ice cream was eaten as it is kept at freezing point, without the mouth warming it up and sending it to liquid form, then it wouldn't taste so appealing. In fact, it would taste bitter and sour as the warmth of our mouth enabled the sugar to escape. But again, holding it too long in a liquid form after milking it will turn it far too sickly to enjoy, too sweety. I personally believe the same is happening with the cigar smoke after a sorbet. Sorbet is one of my favorite pairing. Now Qasim will say he invented it. I invented it.
This is a long debate.
I say when we take the sorbet, we need to masticate it for a bit, navigate it around our palate for a bit, seconds, before we swallow it and then puff our cigar. What's your say? Be free to contradict me, to whatever you want. I want to take the best out of you, Danays. That's why I'm throwing challenging questions.
So, well, I will start going back to what I said in that, in some of the talks that I had, and I was asked about this, or I talked about this. The idea of not suggesting, let's say, cocktails is to not to be, let's say, a cool cocktail, but we suggest not to have ice. First of all, because the very low temperatures will numb your taste buds when smoking. And after some minutes, after a time, they will go back. But at the moment that you have every sip that you have of a very cold drink, your taste buds are numb. So in that sense, the appreciation of the smoke and the flavors and all that is going to be diminished, right? It's because of that. If you like cocktails with ice, I always say people, they have to be happy. They have to have whatever they like. If you have ice cream with cigars, please do it. I just tell you, if you want to enhance your experience, this is the way, right? Have a chill cocktail, but not with a lot of ice. Just simple because of this situation. Now, if you are the type of a smoker who likes to increase the intensity, appreciate all the flavors and all that, maybe you won't have a very cold drink. You won't have an ice cream, for instance, right? But if you are the type of a smoker who after a puff likes to refresh the palate, then you have a cold drink, or you have a scoop of ice cream, or
sorbet.
It all depends on what makes you feel good, right? So I don't know if you understand what I say.
Of course, 100%.
If I want
I want you to say that. I heard that before. Go ahead.
If I want to appreciate all that the smoke can give me, I will try to leave my taste buds as neutral as possible to get all. If I cover them with things, then I'm diminishing the perception of them, you know? That's it. But if you like, for instance, people, they like to have champagne with cigars, or they like to have carbonated drinks with cigars because they want to refresh the palate. Then there are two types of smokers: the ones who likes intensity, the ones who like to have one drink as intense as the cigar, and the other one who likes to have the smoke, the puff, and then likes to refresh the palate. It's my perception, right? And that's when it comes, you know, the carbonated drinks, they just cleanse the palate, just make it a little bit fresh, and then you get another puff. It all depends on what you like.
Completely understood. Noted. I have two small questions, and I finish, if you allow me, you and Qasim. I want you to be very brief here, please, Danays, and I don't want you to be very specific, because away from the usual cliche by most, if not by all cigar makers, when they speak about their cigars, they mention prime tobacco, quality control, carefully selected leaf, perfect rolling, quality control, etc., etc. I want you to name for me one extra factor in Sperlinka cigars, very specific and very scientific, why Sperlinka might be a good cigar, or why Sperlinka is a good cigar. Objectively, not subjectively.
Okay, of course, we work on all those processes like everybody else, right? But for us, the scope of flavors and aroma is very important. You know, so when I smoke a cigar and it's nice for me and it's pleasant for me, and it's complex in the amount of different layers that can just, you know, go and the evolution of the cigar, for me, that's one of the most important things. If I have complied with all these steps of the processes and my cigar tastes like nothing, what's the purpose? The purpose is to make something that gives you pleasure and that makes you think, okay, these guys, they took the time to put all this together, right? And also, the cigar needs to have a meaning too. For us, each cigar has a meaning. When I said meaning, is because we design a cigar in the shape, we design a cigar in the blend, and there is a story behind each cigar. Because the smoke, you can smoke and you can taste, okay, this is a very nice cigar, but if on top of that, you know that this cigar, it was designed with this format and with these notes, and because has to do with the name, enriches the experience too, you know? And I think that tells the consumer, okay, these people, they are thinking of us. They are thinking of giving us a whole experience, which is not only taking smoke out of the mouth, you know? Burning leaves is not only that. I don't know if for me, that's very important.
That's why complexity.
That's why Danays, when we review cigar, Ali and I, we have 20% of the note goes to overall impression. If we go back to this cigar or no, 20%.
And flavors.
And
another 20
and another
20%
for the flavor. That means we put 40% of the notes for your enjoyment of the cigar, and if you go back to the cigar again or not. The rest of the notes goes purely science, draw, construction, burn, smoke, everything.
That's important.
I know that's important, but this is science, and the rest is your reaction to the cigar.
Exactly. And it's very difficult. Your cigars are not going to be liked by everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, It's like not everybody likes the same
personal
wine, or not
experience.
everybody
It's a
likes the
personal
same
experience.
food.
It's a personal experience, yeah.
Exactly, it's very personal. We have cigars that, from my perception, they are mild cigars, and some smokers, they have said, okay, this is a medium to full strength cigar. Okay, that's their perception of the cigar, you know. But one thing that we really don't do, and I personally don't like, is just to make strong cigars because cigars are associated with the strength. No, cigars can be mild to medium depending on the blend, and depending on the tobacco that you put, the level that you use, you know, the amount of, you know, in the proportion of leaves that you put inside and all, but the cigar has to provide a nice experience.
Exactly.
Some cigars are medium to strong, but they have to be complex. They need to have flavor. I don't need a kick in my head, you know? I don't need nicotine to give me a kick in my head and feel like
Dizzy.
I don't think that's the purpose of smoking a cigar.
I have two questions from the audience, if you allow me to throw them at you. One from Mrs. Mariam. She asks, she's a lady, and she wants your opinion on what vitola and one strength you recommend for a woman aficionada.
Okay. I would suggest for a beginner, doesn't matter whether it is woman or man, but I would suggest, let's say, something like Corona, maybe, you know, a Mareva, something, you know, to start. Up to a Robusto, which could be in the medium strength, up to there, but probably the best would be from mild to medium for the first experience, you know, for the person to discover the cigar and to enjoy it. Because if you suggest a big cigar, or if you suggest a very strong cigar, the experience is going to be bad, and that person is not going to smoke again. Now, in my opinion, I don't like to separate women from men, you know. For me, all are smokers. And I can understand that some women which are starting, like a man who may be starting, should have a mild cigar, small size, for the first experience. But when there are women who like stronger cigars, and there are some men who like, you know, milder cigars. So in that sense, I would never separate. We are all smokers. Doesn't matter if we are women or men, all smokers. So my recommendation is, in general, to start something a finer engage, not so long, mild, medium maybe, to start. From there on, once you discover what you like, and taste different things every time. Make sure to eat before, if you're starting.
Yeah.
Make sure to eat before, always.
Especially, you know, for the beginners.
Never to rush a cigar, not to smoke fast. When you smoke fast, the combustion temperature increases, and the flavor of the cigar is going to be unpleasant. It's going to get bitter.
Exactly.
So the cigar delivers the best when it's smoked slowly.
Another guest of us, Mr. Khalifa, he has a very strong statement. He said, when an aficionada or an aficionado and the sommelier becomes a businessman or a businesswoman, he ceases to be an aficionado. What's your answer to that, briefly, because we need to move to a few other things. That's a strong statement. He's accusing you, the minute you become a businesswoman, you start producing and selling cigar, you will cease, you will stop being an aficionado.
Well, you know, the definition of aficionado is something a little bit controversial, because if you read some articles and definitions and such. In the case of the cigars, it's called aficionado, the person who knows about cigar. It's different, you know, from the real meaning of Spanish. When you say somebody is amateur or is professional, you know, we could say that amateur could be like aficionado, you know, in Spanish, but in the cigar world, that's what I know. You're called aficionado when you really know about cigars.
I think Mr. Khalifa meant that you will stop being biased and you will become unbiased because you are selling your own cigar. I think that's what he meant.
You know, it's possible. I have to analyze that, but the thing is that as a cigar sommelier, you might have a mission because you have to sell something. Maybe if you work in a place where you have to sell, probably, and the owner has these cigars and have these drinks, and then you have to suggest what they have, right?
Exactly.
That doesn't mean that the person might be biased. Probably the person knows what's doing, but he has a commercial purpose, and probably he has to fulfill,
Exactly. Okay. Answer enough. Very good question.
Good answer.
I love your transparency. I love your... Qasim, please move to your question before we make the closing, please.
Yeah. Now going back to your sommelier field, we know, we all know that cigar has 3 parts, okay? We all say first third, second third, final third. Why it's a 3 divided by 3? Why not by 4, by 2? I don't know, whatever, by 5, I don't know.
You know what? I believe that whoever came with the idea of dividing a cigar into 3/3, it was just to probably to make something proportional to the size of most of the cigars, because it's not the same to divide, you know, a doble corona that or you know,
Interacto. Can you divide the interacto to 3 parts?
Yeah, it's just to make it easy, okay, when it comes to pairing, right?
Okay.
But when it comes to the evolution and the appreciation of a cigar,
okay,
it's not only 3 parts. Cigar evolves
every puff.
From 2 millimeters to the other one can evolve, and you can feel different things, you know?
Every puff.
Continuous, yes.
Every puff.
Yes.
Okay, Danays, and I have another question in relation to this subject. The note changes, okay, during different thirds of the cigar. And if you want to do the ultimate pairing, as you said once in one of your interview, you suggest to match each third with its each pairing. Is it right?
With?
Let me ask you again. The notes change every third.
No, continuously.
Right?
She answered that. Continuously.
I know. No, this is not what my question.
Why
my
you
question
change pairing? Why you change pairing over cigar?
Yes, we can do. We can change the drinks or pairing during the cigar.
Okay.
In order to get the ultimate pairing.
In very rare occasions, we sit in our houses with 3 different drinks to pair with each supposed third, right? Okay. Because we sit with 1 cigar, and probably we start with maybe, I don't know, with any drink, and maybe after because we want to change, or because we feel it, because the cigar needs something different, or maybe to finish with the coffee, or start with the coffee and then add a spirit. Okay. You do it like this.
Okay.
When we talk about the cigar sommelier, we always try to provide suggestions to get the most out of the experience, right? And for the person to be able to enjoy different flavors and transitions and different things. But it's just something that you don't do every day. It's something that you do when you are in a appropriate place, maybe when you have a professional who can guide you. But usually, sometimes I feel like having rum, and then I sit and I smoke my cigar, the whole cigar with the same rum, you know? It's not because it is for the cigar sommeliers. There are 3/3, and we suggest, if you want to taste, if you want to feel different, if you want to see how it is, try this with this and this. I know I have a little bit of knowledge to suggest what to pair with each third. Doesn't mean that it has to be like this.
Yeah, I know. I'm just asking
You can
a question. If you want to reach the ultimate pairing,
exactly.
that's it. Yeah.
Exactly. So everything in life has to be flexible, and more than that,
And
everything in life.
I know to do this, you have to set up a perfect setup to do this. You cannot do it every day on every occasion. I know that.
Exactly. And even though maybe you have all the drinks of the world and you have all the cigars of the world, but maybe you don't have the disposition to create all this ritual, this is just something that we are able to suggest because we study a little bit, we taste a little bit, and we can just give you some guidelines to get the ultimate experience, but not because it has to be like
just one more question for me, and that's it. Regarding pairing now, I'm gonna take you back to pairing. What do you think about pairing beers with cigar? And I will tell you later why. This question.
Okay, pairing beer and cigars, it's possible. Like everything is possible, and it's very nice if it is well done, because the beer is refreshing, but if you go for a very bitter beer, so when you combine both, so the bitterness can go very high, and it cannot be pleasant unless you like very bitter things. Usually people don't like
I ask you this because during the qualification of the Habanos World Challenge in Lebanon, one of the jury said to one of the participants, he suggests pairing cigar with beer. He told him, "Don't do that again. This is not a good pairing." That's why I ask you.
I would disagree on this.
Okay.
It has to do with the cigar and the beer that you pair the cigar with.
Okay.
Some beers can be very bitter, but some beers can be very nice and even flowery. You can find some flower notes in some cigars. You can find some flower notes in some beers. So it all depends on what you're combining. But to say that beer cannot go with cigars, I wouldn't say that. The other thing is that
let's say this is the old school. Okay.
Yes, and the other thing is that remember that beer has been neglected from the luxury products for a long time, So beer is considered, it had been considered by many people like not a very fine drink, which I disagree with, because it's a type of drink which takes a lot of knowledge, a process which has to be very careful to, and it can also deliver a lot of notes, So it all depends what beer you drink.
Okay. If we have one,
I don't know if I have answered your questions.
Sure. Excellent. One more final question, because it's very important. If we have time, Eli, just for what liquid do you suggest for cleansing or cleaning or naturalizing the palate? Water, cola, tea, whatever. Just with one word.
Water is, for me, the best. The best. Now, sometimes when we are pairing certain products, let's say certain drinks with cigars, and we use these third things, sometimes it's recommended to have, sparkling water, because it cleans the palate faster, but depends also on what sparkling water, because some sparkling waters can be very aggressive. I would recommend sparkling water, not so aggressive, in the palate, because when we have something carbonated in the palate, sometimes you feel like it's aggressive, So try to use carbonated water, which is not so aggressive.
Okay, thank you. That's it for me. Eli.
Very good. I can't stop appreciating your answers, Danays. I really hope that we have revealed to the audience of the Middle East, to Los Osos, a lot of information, very useful information. I can't state my appreciation for your being our guest tonight. I don't know if you feel that it was a good discussion. Let me hear you.
I loved it. I loved it, and you know, I don't like, you know, things which are prepared when it comes to conversations. I prefer to have a spontaneous conversation. If you ask me something I don't know the answer, probably from some of my answers were not exactly what you were expecting, but that's what came to my mind in the moment. And I think spontaneity is very good, because people, they have to be authentic. I don't like to put the things in boxes and say this is like this. I enjoy it very much. It had been a long time since I did not speak about pairings and things, because I have been so much into my, you know, my cigars and all that. I tell you, water is what I drink the most. But it's a fascinating world, and I just encourage people just to try different things, to open their minds, to try new cigars, to give cigars different chances. You know, sometimes we smoke a cigar and the cigar did not taste good, but we have to analyze why. Did we light it correctly? Were we in the right environment with the air? Maybe there was just a draft or whatever. Maybe we were not so happy at the moment. We felt bad, and maybe the cigar tastes bad, you know, burns bad. So give one cigar a second chance, and sometimes even a third chance. Prepare your conditions.
You cannot
cigar.
judge by the first one. Yeah, sure. Thank
No,
you, Danays, so much for your time, first of all.
Thank you.
Let me state something here, that once your product or your cigar reached Lebanon, I want you to consider that you have friends here, and we will be thrilled and excited to receive you as our guest personally in Lebanon.
Yeah.
We will arrange for you a reception and the conference, and you will feel. I hope we can make you convince you to come here. Not now, I'm saying when your cigar
Whenever you
reaches
feel like
Lebanon.
You
and
Thank
Doran.
you so much. Thank you so much.
You and Doran, we welcome royalty too.
Thank you so much. Let me tell you that Lebanon has been in my bucket list for a long, long time. I met a group of Lebanese entrepreneurs in Cuba, because I used to be the public relation specialist for the Cubanacan Corporation, and there were journalists and entrepreneurs and all that, and I was like 4 days with them. At the end, they just lift me in the air and they pull me to the air like this, and I said, oh my God, I mean, if I go to the floor, I'm going to die. But they were so happy, and I had a very nice experience, and they told me, you have to go to Lebanon. And for all what I have seen, Lebanon is a fantastic country. And of course, it would be for me a dream come true just to be able to go there. And for sure, we will ensure for you to get some of our cigars, whether are sold or not in Lebanon. We would love to have that opportunity of selling our cigars in Lebanon, you know, at consumers' disposal. You have to try them. And I always tell people, I want an objective feedback.
This is what we do.
By the way, the Presidente and I believe it's a Cameroon wrapper, worked very well with the amaretto and whiskey. I thank you for your choice. Again, you have all our appreciation. We look high for you, Danays. We're a bit pretentious in Los Osos, but also we are very great listener, and we learn a lot tonight. And we thank you so much. You can't know how much we thank you.
Thank you. Let me tell you something. For me, has been very nice. I love, you know, sometimes when I have my smoke and talks, I wait for that moment, and light my cigar with a lot of pleasure, because the moment of meeting people, even if I have never met them in, you know, in real life, but virtually at least, for me, meeting people, talking to people, and smoking a cigar is the ultimate experience. It's the best possible.
This
Doesn't
is what
matter whether we're
cigar
friends
do.
or not.
This is what cigars
Exactly.
do.
Exactly. And in this case, I more than happiness, because you gave me the opportunity of talking with you, and for your friends also to listen into the few things I have to say. I have been very honored by your invitation, because for me, people who really like what they do, they are passionate, but passionate to the point in which they study to know the truth of things is very important, and you do that.
Thank you, Danays. Thank you very much for your time again. And as Elim mentioned before, we wish and hope to see you soon in Lebanon with Darren, for sure. And again, it was a pleasant evening with you for us, and I hope it is for you also.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Take care.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Once again, Danays, Leon Sanchez, Sperlinka Cigar. We love you.